This is the Fifth Estate winning headline, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning. But we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 16th of April 2019, and I am 2J.
I am Tuam.
And I am Miss K, your host. Again, in case you missed it, this is Winning Headlines. Let's take a look at today's headlines. The Star. Top KCSE students turn away from law. I feel like that's a direct jab at you and I, 2J. Daily Nation. 3 varsities, top choices for KCSE A-listers. And The Standard. 107 degree courses set to be scrapped.
So there's no news?
It appears so.
But I told you guys this yesterday.
Yeah.
When there's no corruption, there's education. When there's no education, it's a drug issue.
Yeah.
When there's no drug issue, someone has murdered someone.
Well, we won't mention the others, but we can talk about all the headlines today together because I think it's the same story. Context is education, the placement of public and private high school students came out, government placed them in universities and released that report yesterday. And this is an analysis of what happened.
Yeah.
Where are they being scrubbed? Is it because people are not choosing these courses or they are useless?
I think they say they're degree programs with no applications. The uselessness of it is what is being asked to be looked at. See whether they're relevant, decide whether you're going to keep them or scrap them.
So you can see there's just a general shift from some of the social sciences into more technical or STEM-related degrees.
But I can tell you the market is also never wrong. When you see students not going to pick some other courses, it's because they know right ahead of them they will not be useful, the courses will not be useful to them.
I have 2 questions for you. Honestly, 2 questions. One, you said the market is never wrong. When I go into this article, I see 149 doctors. 24 engineers, electrical and electronic engineering. Architects are 23. Are you telling me that the market is who determines which students are going to pick which courses? Is it the market? Are high school students are educated on the needs of the market? Or do our parents shove it down our throats that we're going to be doctors, lawyers, architects? Oh, no, sorry, no lawyers, architects, and all the other courses?
Maybe you're right. Sometimes parents do shove it down their kids, right, and tell their kids, oh, because I was a doctor, you also have to become one.
Because I didn't become a doctor.
And that kid, and probably that kid, all they want to do is just music.
Question 2. As you sit here with your degrees, are you employed in the line of business for which you studied?
Not at all.
Neither am I. I use my degree, but I'm not.
I don't know.
No, not at all.
But I think it begs, some questions. Maybe these kids are seeing that there's no future in those traditional, positions that their parents were forcing down their throats. And if that's what they're saying, then maybe the market is correct. Maybe the children, they want to go in a different direction. And the government should meet them halfway to ensure that those 149 doctors will have jobs by the time that they're done.
I think they should. But I will comment on this. Top KCSE students turn away from law, and they do point out that of the... I don't know the total number of students who got A's. Only 5 chose to do law. As a lawyer, I feel like that's an indictment on our course and our degree, because this is, I think, for an A student, what you get is based on your top selection, what you chose as #1 degree.
But guys, let me tell you, personally, the people that I know that have studied law, even in our public institutions.
Please note that on either side of you.
And have graduated, right? Personally, my personal story, these guys don't have jobs. They actually end up doing something else. Right? If I was looking up to someone like that, and let's say I was in high school, and I'm seeing this guy is not going anywhere, where will I go and pick law?
I have to say this, perhaps it's a lack of education. You see, if I train to be a doctor, I will be a doctor. But if I train to be a lawyer, it's a very versatile degree.
Absolutely.
I'm the only person who can be able to get into each of your fields and be able to make a difference in those fields, because cases emerge from each and every field.
So let's bring it back a minute. So let's look at the headlines
and ask ourselves 3 questions. let's bring back our criteria that we used to break down the headlines for you. We ask ourselves 3 questions. Are these headlines topical or are they speculative? There's no way they're speculative, they're giving us fact. So I guess they're topical. Are these headlines repetitive or are they groundbreaking? We can toss that in there.
I feel like it doesn't apply to either. Okay.
And finally, are these headlines thoughtful or are they just plain lazy? 3 varsities, top choices for KCSE A-listers, like there would be any other unis they would pick.
Oh, we're tossing it. Okay.
107 degree courses set to be scrapped. Why are they being scrapped? Explain that to me. So lazy. Top KCSE students turn away from law. Depressing.
All right.
And there you have it. I think we bring back our papers. Today we're bringing them back.
Yes, that
and
is
on to our next segment, the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. And just like our headlines, we have a 3-part criteria that we use to break them down for you. We ask ourselves, are the cartoons humorous or are they dry? Are they satirical or are they pessimistic? And finally, are they effective or just plain lazy? I see you've picked the Star, Ozone's cartoon.
Yes. Caricature of one Kotu leader, Francis Atwoli, Secretary General. And there's something following him, which is spinning wind.
Actually, I don't think we can know what it is. I don't know.
Is it wind? Is it bees, insects?
It seems like some funny wind. You know,
but what are they?
Now, the wind
what are they representing?
has been labeled Ruto 2022. But this Atwoli is running saying, Ruto will not run. Are you seeing the pun here?
But he will run because there's a movement.
But he's running.
Yeah, on his way.
But of late, Francis Atwoli has been against the candidature of William Ruto in 2022 and saying that he will not run. But now he seems to be the one running away from Ruto himself. I think good pun.
I think it's a good cartoon.
I think it's a good cartoon, but I do question that because I think, well, maybe the reason that we can't say what it is because each of us will latch onto the imagery we have in our head. So if you fear bees that are attacking you, you'll think of bees. If you fear that little wind that rises up and you don't know where it's coming from and where it's going to go with the dust, that's what you're going to have. But it doesn't negate the imagery. But something's coming.
Do you guys think Francis Atwoli can run?
Besides the point, I say we put it in the parking bay.
And I think it has a...
I think that we go with the Standard next because there is a similarity in the cartoons today. Kotu, 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 everywhere, Atwoli.
This by Gado is very clever. It's a caricature of Atwoli, although it's not as big as he was in the Star, addressing unemployed youth, and that's why they're called unemployment, right? But Atwoli's mouth is being caricatured to look like a megaphone. Yeah. And everything that he's saying is gibberish. It doesn't make sense.
Or expletives. Or expletives,
And what Gado is trying to tell him is you should be doing what your job tells you to do, right? You should be
don't speak on matters that are not related to your occupation.
Absolutely. He's speaking more about Ruto than he's speaking about unemployment. Yeah. So.
Well, I do like it.
Clever.
So I think it's smart.
What can we say about the 2 Gado cartoons? Because the 2 Atwoli cartoons. Because you have to pick one.
I prefer the Star. Because it made me laugh. I don't think this didn't make me laugh.
I like the Star because I have
You like the Standard?
No, I like this one because it's brainy, but I like the Star because I never thought Atwoli could run.
Okay. On that note, my goodness. On that note, I think we ditch the Standard and we keep the Star and we look at it against former Star cartoonist.
It's actually here.
Now Daily Nation cartoonist Victor Ndula.
So Ndula likes this car with no wheels.
I think it's his depiction of what Jubilee is.
Because he used this in February, around Valentine's Day, when the nurses were on strike.
Yes, I remember.
So it's a motif that he keeps returning to.
The president was Cupid. I did like that.
But
that was a good one.
He does have some messages.
All right.
Who's the driver of Jubilee? He's a party leader, Uhuru Kenyatta. See the driver's seat, car, no wheels, just on rocks, all right?
Wearing a red sweater, I must note.
A red sweater. Talking to someone by the side of the road, the caricature of Raila Odinga, and the back seat is James Orengo, and he seems to be enjoying the conversation.
And they're so comfortable.
On top of the car with rocks, is William Ruto in a yellow jersey, right?
URP.
But he's still crying. In the back seat is Ferdinand Waitito, or caricature of him, right?
And what is Ruto saying?
But look at the labeling on the car.
I do love that.
Tulikuwa pamoja.
I love it. It is not tuko pamoja.
There's no more tuko pamoja. Tulikuwa pamoja. So what you're saying is Jubilee past tense.
But the deputy president is saying, I still insist Jubilee is intact,
but he's
with his arms folded.
And in agony.
And crying.
And he's
I
crying.
think that's a fantastic cartoon. This is
fantastic.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And
I think that, the use of this as a repetitive tool for the public is really good.
It's very effective.
Yeah, it's his depiction of what Jubilee is.
It's effective.
Yeah,
and I believe that's one of the...
Yes, that is definitely one of our criteria. So I do take this. I think if I was to pick between Atwoli and his statements, and the wind of change, otherwise known as 2022 Ruto,
I think this...
I pick
this.
Yes, I pick this.
I like it.
I think we do have a winning cartoon. We have a winning cartoon from the Cabrilla of the Daily Nation.
Yes.
Do we have a final thought today?
Always.
I don't even know why I asked this question. Knowing full well you're going to respond to me in this way.
It's my final thought is a book titled "Start with the Why" by a man called Simon Sinek.
Yes.
Yep. And the book it talks about how great leaders inspire everyone to take action. And I think this is in the context of what we're seeing here. You see, Cabinet Secretary of Education, George Magoha, he says that they are tailoring the needs of students to be in line with Vision 2030.
Yeah.
And I sit back and I ask myself, you know, Vision 2030 is tomorrow.
Yeah,
now,
no, it's very true.
When you take in context what a medical student or an architectural student goes for, the number of years, by the time they graduate and have even gone for internship, right, what will they be accustomed to?
Yeah, Vision 2030 will be over. It will have expired.
Yeah. To me, it's akin to climbing the tree from the top, right? And
I don't even think that imagery is possible. How do you do that?
Yeah, we are starting with the how instead of asking ourselves the why.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know what you guys think.
No, so in the book, he makes a comparison of two ways that you can influence human behavior. So he talks about manipulation and inspiration. Yeah. And he says of the two, inspiration...
So, wait, hold on. That's not carrot and stick, is it?
I don't... Oh, it might be. It could be similar to what he refers to as. Okay. So you have manipulation and inspiration, but he says that of the two, inspiration is the more powerful one and more sustainable. Yes. And so this inspiration is what he refers to as the why. Yeah. So the crux of his book refers to the golden circle. Yeah. So he says that you need to look at the bigger picture to shape the behavior for long-term results. Okay. So in this golden circle, at the center of it, you have the why. And that is the purpose for which you are trying to achieve an objective. Yes. Okay. Then on the outer ring, the middle one, you have the how. Those are the processes and the methods. Yeah. And that's like the value proposition. Right. Okay. And then on the outer ring, the final ring, you have the what. And so just as you're saying, climbing the tree from the top, most people start from the what and then work their way down to sometimes the why. Never even getting to the why. Yes. You know? So the point here is, he says, if you start with the purpose, with your objective, then everything else will fall into place. And he gives lots of great examples. Apple, Dell, Samsung, of people who started with why and found success, people who started with what and are just...
Okay, so if I was to take up Apple, for instance, Steve Jobs started with the why he wanted to do this. He wanted to change the status quo, he wanted to improve customer experience, and that's what powers what Apple does continually and continually. So they continue to innovate to change the status quo and to improve your customer experience so that your products are intuitive. So when he was looking for an MP3, an iPod, for instance, he wanted music that he could keep playing and didn't have to keep changing or keep repeating. So he starts with why am I doing this? Yes. Then he gets to what he wants to do. So then can I poke holes at our Vision 2030 that you've just so rightly stated? That I think it is a what, if I was to call it that. It's a result. It's what we're going to get at the end of it. We're going to get good roads. We're going to get a train that takes us through to places, and each of these things are couched as projects, and each of these projects are flagship projects.
But why? We still don't know. What purpose?
Myself, I actually don't have a problem with Vision 2030. I think Vision 2030 as a plan to take us to the next level, fantastic. What I do have a problem with is customizing our needs as a nation to Vision 2030. Now, if you're going to be withdrawing courses just when you're about to achieve Vision 2030, what are you telling the market?
Yeah.
Well, also, I do think that we need to question our education system generally.
Yeah.
Currently, we're taking ourselves from whatever it is we currently have, 844, and then we're going to have competence-based education.
Right.
Do we know why we're doing that? Have we understood why exactly we're shifting from that to the other?
It's almost like a shift for shift's sake.
Yeah, it's a shift for shift's sake. And then is this, whose vision is this, and at what point is this vision? Because if we're still saying that we need 149 doctors, yet we still needed doctors, engineers, architects in the 1960s,
yes,
one of two things has happened.
Absolutely.
Either we have not changed our situation as a nation from that which required doctors, so we have poor health status, poor... we have not grown as an economy to the level where we need different skill sets, because I feel like we need to be innovating constantly, with the future, constantly, and reevaluating the why we do it.
Absolutely.
Or we're just plain lazy. I'm just gonna say it.
And guys, you know, I always have a crazy thought after giving my submissions. Here's the thing. I also do have a big problem. What I have a big problem with is the big four, right?
Okay.
And I have told you, instead of having the big four, let us have the big one.
The big one.
Right? And you mentioned health. And we want to have a healthy nation by 2030, correct? Now,
that would be the starting point, because they need to be healthy to work, to make money, to grow the economy.
Precisely. But I personally do not think that government can run health as good as private sector. I actually think we need to privatize health. I know I've gone into a tangent, but I still have to say
Don't worry, I'll bring you back.
I had to say this. I think we need to privatize health, give subsidies to people so that they can go to private hospitals, but at the same time, have it at the price of public hospitals. We need to have the equivalent of Kenyatta Hospital in Mudurwa and Kibera and other places.
I think what then you're pointing at is the fact that someone has to articulate the vision.
Absolutely.
And here you're pointing us towards the president being the articulator of the vision.
Yes.
And that goes into my final thought. Can I also have a final thought?
I think you're allowed to have a final thought.
I can delegate.
No, I just want to bring it back to what you brought us into, right?
Yes.
Because I think another good book to read side by side with Start With Why is Why Leaders Eat Last. And it talks about leadership and how important it is, and the role that leaders need to take when growing companies, when growing countries. So I'll give my example as my final thought. So you have American versus Japanese car factories that are mentioned in Start With Why. In America, their car factories, workers work on the assembly line and apply final fixes to the door handle with a mallet. So the mallet comes and they're forcing this handle to fit to the door. But in Japan, the doors are engineered to fit perfectly to the door.
Beginning.
Right from the beginning. And so those who decide to manipulate to get an end result are superior than those who try to force the end result into the initial objective. And so I think reading it contextually with Why Leaders Eat Last is important.
That sounds exactly like my final thought.
I think I'll bring this to a close. I'm going to end it with this quote, and I think it's borrowed from that thinking of both what Start With Why and why leaders ideally should eat last. Is that leadership is about pointing in the direction, articulating a vision of the world that does not yet exist. So we're starting with the why. We don't know where I'm articulating where we're going to go, a place that doesn't yet exist. And then I'm going to ask for help from everyone else to ensure that this vision then happens.
I like that.
Well, today we had no winning headline. We had a winning cartoon from Victor Ndula. This is Winning Headlines. See you tomorrow.